Is it Trey?
Trey, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I just wanted to call in real quick. Yeah, I've seen you guys show a lot, and I wanted to call in particular today. I see you're live. I've heard you guys go on and on about this, and when it comes to talking about the Bible, you guys are just practically illiterate.
Really?
I've heard what you say, and you guys really don't have any facts at all.
Like what?
Well, just like anything you've ever said today about the Bible, about, you know, anything that you've ever said about it. Besides, you know, what I'd really like to do is someday I'm going to come down there and punch your fat face in for Jesus. That's what I'm going to do.
Really? Do you think that's what Jesus wants you to do? Because
yeah, definitely. He's going to come back and he's just going
to... Does he want me to turn the other cheek when you do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's going to be real happy.
And at least, you know, at least we figured out who was illiterate. But one of my favorite calls, I'm going to come punch your face for Jesus. I mean, you know, there's absolutely nothing you could really say in response to that. And honestly, probably the best thing I can do is point out that I don't for a moment think that he represents the majority of Christians out there watching the show or the majority of God believers out there watching the show, because I have conversations with those people. I have family members who are those people. I have close friends who are those people. We get along just fine. We happen to have a disagreement on whether or not a God exists, and that disagreement gets in the way of discussions about other things which are relevant. You know, discussing what kind of laws need to be made, what kind of laws shouldn't be made, where do your rights end and my rights begin. This disagreement about God or Christianity or any of those things, it does get in the way, but it doesn't prohibit all progress. You know, I got an email the other day from somebody who said, you know, I downloaded and watched one of your programs. It was the one where Russell and I were discussing conspiracy theories from like David Icke and others, and comparing them to kind of religion and Christianity and how there are some similarities there. And of course he went off about how you guys aren't really open-minded, you're just another cult who are viewing life with your reality tunnel of scientific materialism. And my response was all, you know, I'm assuming you mean, you know, reality tunnel. I'd rather have a reality tunnel filter on my eyes than the fantasy tunnel. I mean, if that's what you're going to do is watch one episode and make a determination about everything about who we are, what we're about, and if you're going to be upset that we ridiculed ridiculous ideas, that we were too mean to people who were perhaps mentally unstable, I'm sorry. Nothing else I could say. Now, if you want to actually have a discussion that requires, well, I don't know, a little bit of knowledge and understanding, but mostly explains what you believe and not just why you believe it, but why you think somebody else should, we're open to that. The phone lines are open here, and if you don't get through on the phone today or don't want to, you can email tv@atheist-community.org. That goes to myself, the folks behind the scenes. Can't promise to answer all of them. However, you know what? Which ones I'm most likely to answer are the ones that want to have an actual discussion. Because as somebody who was raised with particular beliefs, who wanted to be a minister, who studied to do this, I've changed my beliefs, and I have good reasons, I think, for changing them. I'm still, however, open-minded. The only thing that anybody needs to do in order to convince me to change my mind on something is to present good, reasoned argument and evidence. That's it. Appeals to emotion and threats, those aren't going to do anything.
What do you suppose Trey's response would have been to his junior high school or high school teachers who let him know that he might not have given a correct answer on a math or science test?
I don't know. Would he have punched him in the face?
I don't know. It leaves one to wonder.
It takes, you know, it could be very dangerous to be a public high school or junior high school teacher these days.
That's right, yeah.
There is no claim of this absolute certainty or knowledge. I don't claim to know that there is no God anywhere.
Okay, well that's cool because I didn't realize that. I thought that atheists were pretty hand in hand, you know, hardline. There is no God, and we know that for sure.
I happen to believe there is no God, but I don't claim this as an absolute certainty because I think absolute certainty is useless. Now, to the degree that we can know anything, I think it is pretty close to knowledge, at least for me.
But you admit that that's kind of subjective and certainly at least arguable.
Sure. But the only thing that's going to change my mind is evidence and reasoned argument, not appeals to emotion, not eyewitness testimonial, anecdotal evidence of my grandpa had cancer and we prayed and he got better. Well, so what?
So you're claiming there's a lack of evidence and therefore there's no reason to believe it.
Yep.
Well, I got it. How about this? How about I just come down there and punch your fat head in for Jesus?
That was great. I love the fact that you held on, really, for a long time. It was, as long as, I don't mind. We had other prank callers in the past, and as long as there's a good conversation that gets to good points, because, honestly, having that discussion with you, it wasn't for your benefit. I don't have any illusions about whose mind I'm going to change and who I'm not going to change. I'm not going to sit around and argue with my parents, for example, because I don't think there's any likelihood that I'm going to change their mind. The reason we do the show and the reason why I'm happy to have discussions like that with people is because there may be somebody else listening who maybe one little thing I say helps them change their mind or solidify a position. Maybe something you said, apart from the face punching, may have done the same thing. If somebody listens to a discussion like that, participates, and actually thinks, if they walk away and their faith is strengthened, okay, I won't be particularly thrilled, but I'll be happy that they actually consider the argument when we're interested in a discussion. And, the fact that you're not so much, really doesn't bother me.